Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. And this week I am going to be getting started on a space that I don't think I've ever tackled here on my channel, and that is the entryway to my house. It is a small, awkward little area, so I've had a ton of trouble coming up with what I want to do with this space, but also I've had trouble figuring out what I can do with the space since it is such a tight and awkward little area. But hey, you know what? I'm just working with what I have. The style of house that I live in is a raised ranch style, which means that when you walk through my entryway, you have two sets of stairs. One's going up to the main living part of our house, and then one set of stairs is going down to our exposed basement where there's another living space down there and our guest bedroom. And like my last video where I got started on the process of revamping my husband's office by doing a quicker and easier little project, I'm gonna be doing the same with this space. I'm not ready to tackle the entire entryway because tackling the entire entryway would mean I would have to carry whatever I'm doing in the entryway throughout the rest of my living room, and I'm just not ready to do that yet. So I'm gonna get started on a quicker and easier project, and that is building a skinny little shoe cabinet for this entryway. I think this is going to make the space more inviting, but also just functionally give my husband and I a place to put our shoes that we wear the most often. So with all of that being said, let's get started, and I'm going to talk you guys through my design that I have for this little shoe cabinet. This is an awkward angle that I am filming at, but that is the only way I can show you guys what this entryway looks like. And a lot of times in videos like this, I will sit down and quickly design out these projects in the video, but I actually already went ahead and designed this out over on my Patreon. So if you want to see that video and support my content and get additional content from me each month, I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description. So what I have planned for my cabinet is heavily based off of the Hemnes cabinet from IKEA, but that cabinet is $180, and I just can't bring myself to spend $180 on particle board. Also, aesthetically, it just doesn't look the way I want it to look, so I'd have to spend $180 and then spend more money to make it look the way I want it to look. So I figured I could just build something that looks exactly how I want it to look, and it's gonna be way cheaper than $180. So my cabinet is only going to be 7 inches deep. It's gonna be on this wall, so it's only gonna come out to like here, so it's not gonna take up much space, but all of these shoes that are just laying here are now gonna have a place to go, and they're not gonna be out, and they're gonna be away, and it's gonna be lovely. And also, aesthetically, the look that I'm going for with this cabinet is a faux apothecary cabinet. In my mind, that looks really cool. I'm hoping it looks just as cool once I actually make it. And also, my cabinet is going to be a little bit different than the IKEA piece because where the shoes go in the IKEA piece, they like hinge out. And I heard that it's not the best for holding bigger and chunkier boots. And I would like to be able to put some boots in this cabinet. So I'm actually going to be building 4 skinny 6-inch drawers. And I'm hoping by making them drawers, it will allow me to put chunkier boots in them. So that is the rundown of what I have planned for this cabinet. Let's head outside and get to building. Guys, instead of just going ahead and building this cabinet the way I normally would with all of my tools, I decided to challenge myself. Yay! I am going to be limiting the tools that I use for this project to show you guys, if you are a beginner, that you don't need a crazy amount of tools to build a cabinet like this. So instead of using my table saw to cut all of these pieces of plywood down, I am using my circular saw with a Craig rip cut. This is actually my first time using a rip cut, but I've heard great things. They're very easy and beginner friendly to use. It clips onto pretty much any circular saw that you would have, and then this piece guides it along the edge of the plywood so you get a nice straight cut. So I have to use this rip cut to cut a bunch of 7-inch wide strips of plywood. Okay, I'm gonna do this first cut. I'm gonna mark it out just so that I actually know if I'm cutting at 7 inches. Okay, my rip cut is set to 7 inches. Okay, so I do have to adjust this out just a bit so that the blade is cutting at 7 inches. There we go. Oh wait, this doesn't have, this doesn't have a battery. Hold on. Let's do this thing. First cut with the rip cut. 7 inches, right on the money. Nice, okay. That was pretty easy. Let's cut some more pieces down. Okay, so for the rip cut, I definitely had to take the cuts a little slow, but it worked great, and I have nice, straight 7-inch pieces. So I'm gonna take 4 of these pieces, and I'm gonna cut 2 of them down to 36 inches and 2 of them down to 34.5 inches to make a 36 by 36 inch box. And I removed my rip cut because I'm just going to use my carpenter square to get a nice straight cut. Measure to 36, and then use my square to draw a straight line. I'm gonna line my blade up with that line, and then I basically use this square as a fence to guide a nice straight line. Perfect. Let's do the rest of the cuts. Okay, so I just went ahead and sanded down these 4 pieces so that they're good to go. So now I'm gonna make 3 pocket holes on each end of the 34.5 inch long pieces and use those pocket holes to build a nice big old box out of these 4 pieces. So I have, oops, ow. Okay, I have my nice big square. She's looking solid. I have to now get this piece cut down to 34.5 inches, and I'm gonna run this directly in the center of this square from top to bottom. And then I'm gonna get these pieces cut down to, I think, 16.25. I have to look up the measurements for these pieces, but these are gonna run horizontally so that it breaks up this square into 4 squares for my 4 drawers. Okay, I'm gonna get this 34.5 inch piece in first so that I can double check these measurements for the horizontal pieces. 17.25. Okay, now I have to get the middle of this board lined up with the middle. Flip it over. My measurements said it should be 16 7/8, but I'll just check. Wow, 16 7/8, right on the money. Wow. Yeah, for both. Awesome. Now I can build some drawers. I'm gonna stand more right here because that's the shade right there. Okay, good morning guys. So yesterday when I got to the point of having to build these drawers, I was trying to explain my design and why I designed them out that way, but I wasn't doing a very good job. So I just decided to go ahead and build my first drawer so that I could use this as like a visual aid to show you guys my design and why I designed it out this way. So this is my first drawer. I designed it out in this way so that I'm getting as much depth for the drawers and for like big chunky shoes to fit in these drawers as possible. If I would have built this out like a traditional drawer, I would have lost a lot of depth. So with a normal drawer, what you would typically do is build a drawer box and then attach a drawer front onto that drawer box. So that would have made me lose 1.5 inches of depth. The sides and the bottom are the 3/4 inch plywood that are screwed together, and then I screwed them right into the drawer front, and then the back of the drawer is 1/4 inch plywood. So again, I'm not losing that depth for shoes to fit in this drawer. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and get the rest of the pieces cut down for the next 3 drawers, and then I'll put one of those drawers together with you guys to show you how it all goes together. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut down. I just went ahead and sanded all of them down really quickly. And now I'm gonna put one of my drawers together and also explain to you guys like how I got the measurements and everything. So this is one of my drawer fronts. It is 16 5/8. Basically my opening for each little box that I have in this cabinet is 16 7/8. So I minused 2/8 so that there's an 1/8 of an inch gap around the drawer front so that it opens and closes nicely and doesn't like catch on the sides. This is one of my drawer bottoms. It is 14 3/8. I think that's right. If it's wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen. But I think it's 14 4/8. Basically, I minused an inch from 16 7/8, and then I minused another 1.5 inches, and I got 14 3/8. Yeah, so I'm gonna quickly put some pocket holes on each end of this board. Okay, so I have pocket holes on each end, and I'm gonna do one more pocket hole going forward, and I'll use that pocket hole to attach this to the drawer front. Cool. Now I'm gonna grab 2 of the drawer sides, and I'm going to do 3 pocket holes going forward again so I can use those pocket holes to attach these pieces to the drawer front. So now I'm just gonna put those 3 pieces together. You could use clamps. I feel like clamps slow me down, but choose your own adventure. Also, I just need to make sure that my pocket holes are all going the same direction. Also, I made the sides 15 inches tall. Originally, I had them going all the way to the top of the drawer front, but I thought it looked kind of weird, so I changed it. I got this cute little U shape. We got the sides, we got the bottom of the drawer, and now I'm gonna get this attached to the front of the drawer. So I am going to measure to the middle of this drawer front, which is, where's the middle? Hold on. What is 0.3125 as a fraction? 5/16, that's it. So I gotta measure to 8 5/16. There is my center. Now I need to figure out where the middle of this is. Okay, 7 7/8. So I have a line in the center of this bottom piece, and then I've got a line in the center of the drawer front, and I'm just gonna match those lines up and use the pocket holes to screw into the front of the drawer. Okay, and before I get these sides in, I'm just gonna make sure they're square. They are. Now, I'm gonna get the back attached. Hold on, to go that way? No, did I just completely cut this wrong? Probably. That's better, now it should fit. If you have a pneumatic nail gun, you can use that. But again, I am trying to keep this beginner friendly, so I am gonna use just a good old nail and hammer. So here is my second drawer. I'm gonna get the other 2 put together and then show you guys how I'm installing the drawer slides. My goal is to try to finish the building portion of this project so that tomorrow is just like all of the fun final detail stuff of like staining and all of that stuff. So what I'm gonna do is take my drawer, I turned it over on its side, and I'm gonna measure 7.5 inches up. Originally, I had the drawer slides at the very bottom of the drawer, but because these are so tall, it kind of was like a little wonky, so I moved the drawer slides to more of like the middle of the drawer. So I'm gonna measure 7.5 inches up, And then I'm gonna take one of my drawer slides, and then there's this little tab on the drawer slide that you push up, and then it pulls, and you have the part that attaches to the drawer. So now I'm gonna take this part that goes and attaches to the drawer and butt it up right against the front of the drawer. And that line I just made is on the bottom here. These are just the screws that came with the drawer slides, so I'm using those. Perfect. I'm gonna flip it over and repeat the process. So I'm gonna go grab the cube part so that I can get the side of the drawer slides that attaches to the actual cabinet installed. Okay, I hope you can see me through here, but I just measured 8 and 15 sixteenths up from the top. I know that sounds like really specific, but it kind of has to be so that this drawer fits perfectly in this space and slides in. So I am just gonna make sure I got a nice straight line. And now I'm gonna take this scrap piece of plywood, line it up with the front, and draw a line. Okay, so I'm gonna take this drawer slide and get those attached. Hopefully this works out. The first drawer worked out perfect, so hopefully this works out. Come in. I think that works. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other 2 drawer slides installed, and then we can go from there. Guys, so I did not finish building this cabinet yesterday, but that's okay. I think I'm gonna finish it today. I just spent a good amount of time yesterday doing a ton of micro adjustments to the drawer slides because I needed these drawers to fit perfectly in the opening, and I needed that 1/8 of an inch gap all around. So that took a while to get the drawers perfect. I needed that 1/8 of an inch gap because I needed space so that I could put some veneer edge banding on the drawer fronts. Veneer edge banding is kind of like this like veneer tape that you iron onto the edge of a piece of plywood, and it just gives it a really nice polished look. And I also went ahead and put the veneer edge banding on the front of the actual cabinet where I needed it to go. So all of that is done and out of the way, and now I'm gonna work on the drawer fronts because, you know, I have to be extra and make this look like a faux apothecary cabinet. My plan for breaking up the drawer fronts and giving this a faux apothecary look is to take this 1/4 inch plywood, cut down 4 squares for each drawer front, and then getting them glued onto the drawer front. And I'm hoping this turns out. If it doesn't look cool, we might have to go back to the drawing board. To ensure that these drawer fronts turned out as nice as possible, when cutting this 1/4 inch plywood, I laid a piece of painter's tape on the line I was cutting. This stops the plywood from splitting at the edges. Okay guys, I just finished cutting down all of my squares for my drawer fronts, and I was just about to start gluing down my first 4 squares, and then it dawned on me what would look so good if I did the veneer edge banding in between all of the squares, since I did the veneer edge banding on the front of the cabinet. So it'll give the front of this cabinet a much more cohesive look. And if none of this makes sense, it will once I finish the drawers and I pop them into place. You'll see what I'm talking about. guys, the drawer fronts are done. In the video, I'll probably show you guys like what they look like once they are slid into place. But for right now, they are drying flat with some weights on them to hold those pieces down. But I am gonna move on to finishing up the building portion of this project, which is getting the top attached and getting the base built. And I'm gonna let future Miley explain these two steps. To add a little detail to this cabinet, I decided to add trim to the top and bottom, and I did cave, but I just wanted to speed up this process, so I used my miter saw and nail gun. But if you're a beginner and you don't have those tools, you could use a miter box with a handheld saw and then use finishing nails and a hammer to get it attached. Or you could skip the trim altogether and just use veneer edge banding at the top and bottom. To cover up the pocket holes at the top, I used a 1x10 piece of pine. I got that cut down to the length and width I needed it to be, and then used some screws to get it attached to the cabinet. And because my entryway is so small, I wanted this cabinet tucked up against the wall as much as possible. So I wanted to get these legs attached to the front of the cabinet so that it would clear the baseboards and get this cabinet tucked up against the wall. So what I did is I cut down a 1x2 and used some pocket holes and screws to get the board attached to each leg. Then I was able to use that board and screws to attach the legs to the front of the cabinet. I'm wearing all black so you can't even see him. He's an invisible kitty cat. Good morning, guys. It's time to finish up this shoe cabinet. And for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Last night, I was staring at this piece and I was like, maybe I should have gone with 6 fake drawers per drawer front. You know, did a line down the middle and then had 3 more rectangular shaped drawers. So that would have made this have 24 fake drawers. But the more I looked at it and the more I thought about it, I was like, maybe having that many fake drawers would be too busy for my small little entryway. So I think ultimately I am gonna be happy with what I went with. Also, when Jordan got home yesterday, he was like, how are we supposed to fit shoes in such small drawers? He literally thought there were 16 drawers here and not 4 big drawers. So I at least fooled one person into thinking that these are actual small drawers. So yay. So now I am gonna get to staining. I moved this cabinet into my living room so that I can stain it in the lighting that it's gonna be in, so that I know how light or how dark I wanna take this cabinet. So I'm gonna get to staining. I'm starting out with Honey by Minwax. If I change anything or if I do anything different, I'll let you guys know. Are we on? We're on, yay! Okay guys, the stain has been sitting for a while. I'm ready to do top coat. I'm gonna do a few rounds of top coat. Once the top coat dries, I'm gonna go in with these Apothacary little drawer pulls on each one of the faux drawers. I got a pack of 16 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description down below. Once all of that's done, I'm gonna get this officially in place right at my front door, and I got some L-shaped brackets to hold it up, whereas right now it's just leaning against the wall. So I'm gonna do all of that, and that will complete this faux Apothacary shoe cabinet. Who needs IKEA? And that is it, guys.
Even though I still have a lot of work to do on this entryway, I am very happy I went ahead and built this shoe cabinet first. It has made such a big difference not just having a pile of shoes by our front door, but now those shoes have an actual place to go and they're away, but still conveniently by our front door. And the best part about my design is that my husband's big, clunky work boots fit in one of the drawers. And depending on how big the shoes are, each drawer fits about 1 to 3 pairs of shoes. So I'm really happy with the overall storage the skinny little shoe cabinet has. And I hope this project showed you that if you are a beginner, you don't need a big fancy workshop with tons of tools to build some really cool projects. I hope you guys like this project and video. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!